Hello everyone, welcome to an episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to do kind of an update to my Draconic build video that I put out while I was at Vegas. I made a couple slight alterations, after first impressions with the cards and stuff like that. And I kind of also wanted to just redo it when I'm here on FabDB. You can actually see the cards, right? We're not going like card by card like I was in that kind of janky setup that I wanted to do. But I just wanted to kind of give, after doing the video yesterday or last night, rather, on kind of like how Fi is built, and how I think that you need to approach Fi. I wanted to kind of go over it again just for new players, and kind of talk about how I think that if you've never played Ninja before, or like you're not sure on what to play with Fi, I think this is a good starting build. Fi is obviously going to change depending on the meta, depending on what's going on. Different builds are going to become more popular, but if you're just starting out and you want a really solid build that I think you can win games with and do really well with, especially at an armory level, and just playing with your friends and stuff like that, and then possibly tweak it per what you need to do for like a bigger event, this is a really good starting point. So we'll get right into it. Kind of talking about the build, right? So for this one, we have Syrian Emberblade as the weapon, in the equipment loadout, and I think it's just better in Kadachi's. I don't particularly like some people are saying use Brand with Cinder Claw to give your Kadachi's Draconic or give like other attacks Draconic. I just like what Syrian Everblade does. It's a 3 break point. It works really well. You can still use like your Phoenix Flames to pop like Ash Wings and stuff, and get rid of Spectral Shields when needed and stuff like that. But this just presents more damage and really helps, continue what Fi wants to do. They're going to have to commit a full 3 block from hand in order to prevent that second attack with that possibly is then going to threaten mass. So it puts them in a really weird spot. If you attack with a card and then you place Emberblade for 3, your next attack's going to be presenting a massive momentum trigger, and they want to block that second attack like most people do. They're going to have to block with a full 3 block, which doesn't feel good because most of the time that means it's an attack out of hand or like a good key card, right? So that's that. I'm running Tunic in the main board, Mask of Momentum, Snapdragon Scalers, and Stubby Hammers. I do think that Stubby Hammers overall is probably the more consistent armed piece to use. I have been praising Shuko, and I like Shuko a lot, and I think that it's going to definitely have a place. But I think for this type of build, I think it's just better to use Stubby Hammers. So going into the deck, again, like the video I used last night, please go check it out if you want to. I used a lot of the same principles, where I started with my Go Again core cards. The only one I didn't include is Rebellious Rush. Like I included Brand with Cinderclaw, I included Dust Runner Outlaw, and I included Ronin Renegade. And then from a Draconic aspect, then we built on, okay, what goes and gets Phoenix Flames, Flame Claw Awakening, Inflame, right, and then Rise from the Ashes, which I believe I have it blue. I don't have it red, I just have it at blue, for this particular build. But it also is a really good card you could definitely swap in. Thinking about it, if you were to swap in 2 Rise from Ashes red, just switch out your combustion points. But I do like combustion point to finish games. Anyway, and then finally I moved in kind of like on hit effect cards, like I talked about in my last video, which is Mounting Anger, um, you know, Rising Resentment at blue and red, um, and then just those kind of cards. And then finally, I decided what rupture cards were best for me. For me, Phoenix Form was number 1 for sure. I really wanted to be able to, make the most of like some of my rupture cards, and Phoenix Form's plus side when you have 3 uh 3 Phoenix Flames having me play that turn, and it comes in for 5, go again on hit, draw 3 cards. If you can combine this somehow with like a combustion point, or some type, or even off of Art of War where it's game +1, so it's coming in for 6 now, depending on how it goes, it's really nice for that. So that's one rupture card I chose. The other one is Rise Up. The fact that you can just play 5 or 7 or 9 Dominate is just super nice. Really nice for that. Spreading Flames is basically like a mini Art of War for the deck. Like it legitimately is. It's Art of War without the draw effect, because all your Draconic attacks are getting +1 that turn if they cost less than, or their base power is less than the amount of chain links you control, which isn't hard to do. It's basically an Art of War. So that's really good. I chose Uprising. I really like this card because at its worst, it's like a 0 cost 2 base or 2 extra damage off the turn, and at best you can get 4 extra damage on the turn off one card. Like if you think about it in terms of like an attack reaction or a non-attack buff, Like the best non-attack buffs are like Nimblism, Rise from the Ashes, cards like that, which are a 0 for 3 buff. This is potentially a 0 for 4 buff, right? And getting 0 for 3 buff is even easier. Like you play Uprise and you play an attack, and then you play Ember Blade. Like even if off a 3 card hand or 4 card hand, like you can easily get the same buff as you would like a Nimblism or anything else. So super nice for that. It's good to hit breakpoints. It makes cards like Spreading Flames hit for 4, Ronin Renegade hit for 4. Right, these breakpoint attacks, which makes your Mask of Momentum a little bit better. That's why I like the card so much, is because it really makes Mask of Momentum harder to block out, because a lot of your 3 power attacks will now go for 4. Um, I picked Tome of Firebrand. I do like this. You could put 3 of these in the deck. I just need to do more testing and see like how often you get it off. But the fact that you just automatically draw 2 cards is bonkers. And then I have 15 blues in the deck. I follow the same kind of rules as Katsu. I do think Fi is gonna, like, you can't just run red line Fi. It's not gonna work. It won't be as consistent as you want it to be. I think he is gonna need like 15 to 18 blues. And I think in your deck it's just gonna be good to have 15 to 18 blues because of all the ice that's gonna be running around. So I have 15 blues in the main board. I picked Ronin Renegade, basically a Draconic head jab. Rising Resentment is really good, right? It's 0 cost 1 power. If it hits, like with Go Again, if it hits, like your next attack will be 1 less cost to play. If it's less than the amount of Draconic chain links you control. Rise from the Ashes obviously is playable if if you do have a Cheerio hand. Rise from the Ashes can be played, right, to give your next attack +1 and go get a Phoenix Flame. Um, and then Lava Vein Loyalty and Cinder Skin. Looking at this, like if you wanted a little bit more flame recursion, right, you could swap out these combustion points for 2 Rise of the Ashes reds, and that would be good as well. It's just kind of personal preference. So that's what I'm going with. For the Rupture cards was Rise Up and Phoenix Form, and then Art of War, obviously pretty standard on why Art of War is good. I don't think we have to go over that too much. The sideboard is gonna be living. So like if you watch this video 2 months from the day it's been posted, because I know these videos get watched like weeks in time, like pay attention to where the sideboards change, because it's gonna change with the meta, right? I'm just kind of giving my first crack at what I think the meta is gonna be, and because of that, right? So the first thing, the easiest, is we're running 3 AB, we're running Tide Flippers, and then No Rune Road, No Rune Gloves. I want to keep Mask of Momentum in play because I want to force them to block, especially with Fi. But I have 3 AB for that. I'm running Flamescale Furnace. If you don't have this, you could sub this in for another card, probably like a third Liquefy, or a third Breaking Point. But I have it in here for the block, because if I'm playing like a Bravo that's gonna have a lot of Dominate, it'd be nice to have Flamescale Furnace and Tiger Stripe Shuko, because then you literally have 5 block in, or 4 block in your equipment set for one of his big attacks, along with like one of your own cards. You're blocking for 7 now. And on a Crippling Crush, like you're almost blocking that out fully, depending on how it goes. I might have to end up putting defense reactions in here to be able to block some of those out fully, but you block for 7, and if it's a really really key Crippling Crush rate late in the game, right, you could block with Mask, but I highly doubt you do that. But this will help block some of the other crush effect cards that aren't 11, like some of the 9 crush effect cards and stuff like that, because you block for 4, then you block with a card from hand that makes 7, and now you can continue your turn. So I'm using it for the block capability. Also might be good in the mirror as well to kind of gain a little bit of advantage, because you block out a couple of their attacks, especially with Flame Scale. You basically can block out a 2 power like a Phoenix Flame or something that maybe is presenting Mask pretty easily. So it's really good for that. So from as far as Flame Scale's like ability, like basically being like a Tekla Foundry Heart for Ninja, it could be useful, but this is definitely a Dromai based effect. It's not that it can't be useful on Fi, it's just this effect's made for Dromai, so that's all. Liquefy is really good. I like Liquefy in the Oldheim matchup. I would love to melt an Oldheim Crown of Seeds. That would be fantastic. It really makes the matchup a lot better. Like I'm putting this in and I'm playing to it. Really, I'm gonna arsenal it and then try to use it as quick as possible to get rid of their Crown of Seeds. It also would be good against Wizard if you can get rid of their Storm Shires really early. In that matchup, it'd be really nice. And then even in the mirror, getting rid of, it'd be a little bit harder because you have to do it twice, but get rid of Mask of Momentum or get rid of Tunic, or even get rid of their Snapdragon Scalers, right? So it's crazy. Also, for the regular main board, like Tunic's the obvious one, right? Mask of Momentum's the obvious one. Stubby Hammers, and then Snapdragon Scalers. Snapdragon Scalers actually isn't used as a lot. Like it's only gonna be really used on your Rupture cards, but there's just not a better boot right now. Some people were talking about Toma Fiendal with Mage Master boots, which is really funny, but snaps is still just how it is. And then the rest of these are honestly for Prism, not Fi, Dromai, Icelander, um, and Oldheim. So the Thaw, obviously, right, is for Icelander, Oldheim, and Ice Lexi. Be able to destroy a Frostbite, destroy a target Ice Affliction, or destroy or unfreeze a frozen card. It's also 6 power, so it's a popper for Phantasm, really good against Dromai. So this is kind of like a do-it-all card. Breaking Point's really good. If you can play Art of War on your turn with this, like you could pop the Phantasm. You also could play this to destroy cards in Arsenal. Anybody, it's basically a Command and Conquer, right? M5, because it's not that hard to get the Chain Link for. And by the time you're at Chain Link 4, they've probably blocked once or twice, so they're not going to want to block a 5-power Breaking Point, and their Arsenal's probably just going to be destroyed. And then a Race Face. This card is nuts. One, it pops Dromai and Prism Phantasms. Two, it gets rid of all card and tokens, type, class, and talent. So, like Draconic Illusionist dragons will only be dragons or only be allies, right? They'll only be allies. They won't be Draconic Illusionists, right? Um, you know, ice cards will no longer be ice, right? Like it's gonna really turn off a lot of the abilities. Like all dragons will lose go again if you hit with this card. So because they're not a draconic illusionist anymore for that turn. So really good. That's what I have in the sideboard. But again, like I said, the sideboard would be living. This is a good start. I really do think that if you're trying to get used to Fi and really play the build, I think this is a good build. Like I said, the one edit you could make and try both is instead of Combustion Point, run 2 red Rise from the Ashes, so you can get more Phoenix Flame recursion and get it quicker. Because that's what really makes this deck go is when you have like 2 Phoenix Flames at least in grave. Until then, the deck's still good, but it really increases the power level when you can get 2 of those in grave quickly. So it's really good. I went down to a 60 card deck just because a lot of people were like, "Why aren't you running 60 cards? Why are you running 62?" Right? Like, I'm not gonna sit in this video and tell you why I do it. I still think it's better, and if I was running this list, I would add 2 in the main board, but I'd probably add the 2 breaking points. But for the purpose of other people that want to run 60 card decks, here's your 60 card deck. Really good. So yeah, hopefully y'all enjoy this. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll be doing different other builds. I'll be doing Fi Commoner, Fi Blitz. I'll be doing a Rupture build. I'm gonna try my best to like do what I would do for a hybrid build, and kind of give you all different ones. So yeah, hopefully y'all like this. If you do, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, go in our Fleshbug career, do the same thing for them so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.